Welcome back everyone, I'm James the Tie Guy, and today we have one of the newest Black Series figures we're going to take a look at. This is the 6-inch General Veers figure. This is going to be an exclusive when it comes out in the fall in the US. Walgreens will be the exclusive retailer of it, so that might make distribution a little bit spotty as it is with a lot of these exclusives. I'm hoping he's not that hard to find though, because I know a lot of people are waiting on this one. He is available right now from Asia distributors, so he's out there. It's just he hasn't made it stateside yet, but I wanted to go ahead and get this figure so that we could take a look at it well ahead of its US release. I think this is going to be a no-brainer for anybody that can find him. He should retail for $19.99, the standard price for Black Series. This is probably one of my favorite figures to come along in a while. He's really well done. His likeness to Julian Glover, who played General Veers in the original Empire Strikes Back, his likeness is very close to that. If you look at my pictures, I have him next to a shadow box I made with the autograph of Julian Glover and his General Veers picture. The likeness is extremely good. They really done a great job, and the digital face tech helps a lot in that regard. I haven't seen Piet as of now, but I'm pretty sure I don't think he's going to look quite as good as this one does, just from the literature I've seen, but he should be here any day now, so we'll be able to take a look when he does. Standard Black Series packaging that we get here, nothing special since it's an exclusive, like some of the other exclusives might have a different colored box, other than just not having a number assigned to him like the others. That's how all exclusives are. As we know, we got the back here that talks about the info that you can find on the General from the Star Wars databank. Of course, we know he's most famous for leading Blizzard Force in the attack on Hoth, which was overall a resounding success for the Empire. They didn't catch them, but they were able to drive them off the planet and ultimately destroy their base. He comes with all of his officer armor that he did in the movie, from the helmet to the vest or base chest protection, which is very similar to a snowtrooper's, holster for his blaster, and then his officer hat, which is removable. So if we take a look, we'll get all of his accessories and him out of the box. I had him open yesterday to take pictures. Some of those came out really good, and they're posted on my channel's Facebook page and my Flickr account, which are linked below in the description if you want to take a look at those, especially next to the picture that I was mentioning, to see just how good a job Hasbro done at capturing the likeness. So I will set these accessories up here one by one. First and foremost is his officer armor. As we can see here, it's basically has several pieces to it, and they're all tied together. You've got the waist belt portion, you've got the part that covers his chest, then the back with some electronics, and then the holster here, and then this belt wraps around him, and then it's got a little clasp. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there, or actually it's on the back side of it right there, and then it goes on him like that. You've got his helmet, so you've got the officer code disc over here on both sides. You've got this hinge looking part running down the middle. These goggles are built into the helmet, they're not removable, but they do look good nonetheless. And then he's even got his little microphone piece on the chin strap. Another point that I noticed is this molding inside the helmet is molded to the head sculpt of the General. Basically all these ridges are exactly like his hair, and that means that it conforms to his head pretty much perfectly, so I was glad to see Hasbro did that. It of course would fit other Black Series figures, but just not as well as it will this one since it's custom made. Set these figures out, or the accessories there. We've got his hat, standard officer cap with the code cylinder there, or the identification cylinder the officers were given. And then finally we have the General himself. As you can see, he does have the new face tech, which makes his eyes very distinguished. You've got the pupils, and then the whites, and then the color. Not as easy to see on camera, but in person, this is you can really tell. You got his boots, nice and polished looking. The bottom of him is the standard Imperial Officer sculpt that I think we're going to be seeing on like Piet, and we've already seen it on Grand Moff Tarkin. The only differences are going to be the Moff had no gloves, and the General's got these black gloves on. And then of course you got code cylinder differences and rank insignia based on the character that it's portraying, so those will be different. The gloves look nice. They've got little textures to them that make them look leathery, I guess you could call it. He's got his officer's belt, again with that identifier on it. The belt isn't removable, doesn't have any notches or anything like that in it, but it is there, and I still think it looks fine nonetheless. The head has got this small part in it to allow it to rotate. Not very noticeable though, especially when he's got headwear on. He has all of the standard articulation of any other Black Series figure of this type. You got his feet, of course, which will go back and forth. His front articulation is a little hindered, the ab crunch part, because of this, which is tough rubber, I guess you could call it, material. But it's not really a pose that he needs to be able to do, so I'm not concerned about it. You've got the legs double jointed, single joint on the arms, hands of course that rotate. You've got the waist rotation there, the head rotates 360. Not that it matters really unless you're wanting to do reenact the Exorcist, but it's there. And see, he's got the gray head sculpt or gray hair sculpt, and it does conform to his helmet. So now the part that most people are going to want to see is him in his officer gear, because let's face it, that is the General Veers that everyone knows and loves. Although I did have to take some pictures of him in his cap, because there is a part where in The Empire Strikes Back, when Vader is telling him to prepare his men for ground assault, that he is face to face with Vader, and pretty much the closest officer I've ever seen get that close to Darth Vader and still live to tell about it. And this is exactly what he's wearing in that scene. So I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. Him in his officer cap. Not too outstanding by any means, but he does look this way in some of the scenes. So I think that it is important to show him like that. Try to bring the exposure down there a little for you. There we go. So you can see just how good he looks, even in that. But now let's get on to the best part. So we've got officer armor. Just goes over his head. And then you've got this belt, and it has to go around exactly at the waist in order for it to be long enough to line up with the notch there to secure itself, which it basically follows the same path as the belt that he's already wearing. And then once you have that, the rest of the armor needs to be pressed down a little bit to get it to conform to his body. This is only the second time I've had him out, so his joints and the armor and everything are still a little on the stiff side. And then his pistol, I don't know if I got it out yet, but his blaster actually would go right here. It's somewhere here. Anyway, if we put on his final piece of gear, which is his helmet, it just goes down, and then the chin strap slides under like that. So there he is in his full officer gear. Really like the look of him. This is just a great looking figure, especially when he's in all of his armor. And I did find his gun here. Best I can tell from looking it up, it's SE or a DL-21, so it's similar to it's from the same maker as Han Solo's blaster. The DL-21s I found were normally used by bounty hunters, had a flared muzzle on them. This one doesn't, but other than that, it's exactly the same as a DL-21, so I'm going to go with that. It doesn't say specifically anywhere that I could find, but it looks exactly like that, so we'll go ahead and call it that. And that goes in the holster, or as you can see, both fingers can be trigger fingers to an extent, although he is supposed to be using his right hand primarily. That's the biggest one for holding a gun, at least. So if we put his gun, never actually see General Veers holding a firearm, but his officer armor would include one. So there he is holding it. So as you can see, he's just a great looking figure. I mean, just really awesome all the way around. I just love this one. I like Piet. I love the character of Admiral Piet, but I can already tell you now the figure just isn't going to be as good as this one. And you know, a lot of that to do is just with the fact that he doesn't have officer armor and Veers does. Trying to get him to stand here. He's not the best balance, especially when he's wearing his armor. So getting him to stand can be a little tricky without actually using a plastic stand, which I did during photography. But he doesn't quite want to stand up there. So if I let him go, maybe we can just put him back here. Try to focus in on him for you. There we go. So there he is, standing up. Looks really good likeness to the actor. And if we bring in a figure to compare him to, I've got Grand Admiral Thrawn. Got Moff Tarkin that I have him within the pictures along with Vader, but Tarkin is back in his box right now. So I thought I would go ahead and bring out Thrawn, who's another officer. Now, in case you're wondering, I know some people have been talking about a possibility of converting his armor to the type that Thrawn wore in the Rebels series. Now, Thrawn's head is a bit bigger, I believe. So, I'll show you here, the helmet, well, it just doesn't want to fit. That's about as far down as it'll go without forcing the chin strap to eventually what it would break. It'll probably fit him if you tried hard enough and hollowed it out a little, but it wouldn't be able to work good with the chin strap. So, I know, and the office armor is the same way. It works, but his holster there on the side gets in the way, and so it makes it bulge out on the holster side. Now, I'm not saying it wouldn't be okay with a little bit of modification, but just as it is, it's not going to work so great. Because I tried it. I wanted to see if I could take some pictures of him wearing that, just as it was, but just wasn't cooperating. And you know, it's to be expected. It's not something that it was wasn't made for Tarkin. It was made for General Veers. Although a Tarkin armored Tarkin would be awesome to see. There he is on a stand. I'll stay on it without his hat or his helmet. Just doesn't want to stay balanced on it no matter what I do, it seems. Out of all the figures I had, he's been one of the hardest to get and stay balanced. I had him fall a lot when I was taking pictures. But I don't think that's a big deal or anything to be concerned by, because if you had him in a diorama or something of that nature, then you could get a stand made specifically for this type of figure. The one that I have here is more for a 3 3/4 inch figure. So there he is, fully armored. To conclude, I'm going to say that this looks like his belt came off. This guy is a definite must buy. I think Hasbro did a great job on the facial likeness to the original General Veers from the movie. More so than I thought they'd be able to. I don't think they would have been able to do this before with the painting technique that they were using earlier, like last year. but for this one, it really came through, because as you can see, it just looks great. It really, really does. I like this figure a lot. I think he might be a little difficult to find, because from what I can judge, the demand for him is pretty strong, but I think I definitely recommend him. If you see him, pick him up for sure. Now I do have Admiral Piet. He should be here anytime this week, possibly tomorrow, and I'll be doing a full photo gallery of him as well as a hands-on review, so be watching for that. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That would help a lot, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification icon there so you'll know when new videos are posted. That would also help me a lot, and I do appreciate everyone's support so far. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and may the force be with you.